No, they'll never take us under, because we're bringing truth like thunder. Raining on your speakers like a ton of bricks. Hold the cross high.
Straight Talk Catholicism. You've got Dr. Dan Snyder, Terry Barber, myself, Jesse Romero. We're talking about the Pope's statement that he made to some filmmakers. And Terry, I think we got some video clips.
We have Father James Martin, who's obviously pro-homosexual, who's been going all around the country, that Bishop Joseph Strickland has condemned publicly on our show for what he's doing. And then I'm going to play another priest who comes on and sets the record straight and inspires us to pray for Holy Mother, the Church. So I'm going to ask Dan to give his comments right after this 2-minute clip. Mr. Engineer, play that clip.
Well, I think it seems like the church is understanding LGBT people and perhaps reflecting on their experience of being in civil unions, of being in partnerships like that. And he may have changed his thinking. And he may just have had more experience of talking with LGBT people. He has, I know, for a fact, he has friends who are LGBT. He speaks to them. I spent a half an hour with them last year speaking about LGBT issues. So he's well informed, and he may have, in a sense, as we say in the church, developed his own doctrine, right? He's sort of come to an understanding of things in a different way, which enabled him to speak more positively in this documentary. The bishops, who are many in different countries, who are violently against civil unions, are going to have to rethink their positions. You often have bishops in the United States and especially in places like Poland who say that they are a threat to traditional marriage. Now you have the Pope saying he supports them, and so they're going to have to rethink what they're talking about. And I think on a broader level, it basically is a more of a welcome mat for LGBT Catholics, make them feel more welcome in their church.
Here we go with the media misrepresenting the Pope again, right? Headline reads, Pope approves and calls for civil unions for homosexuals. I thought, unbelievable. No way. Someone's exaggerated something he said, or someone took it out of context, or it's a bad translation. So I looked. It's a video, and he's saying exactly what the headline says. Right? So it's a new video in Italian. The translation is accurate. That the Holy Father is calling for civil unions for homosexuals. Right? Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the Holy Father has a theological opinion contrary to the teachings of the Church. Right? It means we have to pray more. We respect that office. We guard that office. I would die in defense of that office. Right? The chair of Peter is a gift given by God, the fulfillment of the throne of David. So that office is very sacred. We don't trash the Pope. We don't trash the papacy. We don't throw things under the bus. No, now is the time we have to pray and sacrifice more.
He nailed it. Pray and sacrifice more.
So there's two priests that are being contrasted.
You got it.
You got Father James Martin, who made one comment about the whole church is going to have to change their doctrine.
Yep.
And then you have another priest that's he's a PhD in moral theology, by the way.
He does. Yeah, he's good.
And he said this. He said, this was a poor prudential judgment that's at odds with the teaching of the church. Dan, comment on those both priests?
Yeah, let's start with the second.
I would too.
Definitely. Let's go with the easy one first. The second one, the second priest. I mean, he's very clear. The magisterium, the constant, universal teaching tradition of the church, as firmly taught, preserved, and handed forth by the magisterium, the teaching authority. Magister was a judge. This is the judging juridical authority of the church. It's very clear. Catechism 2537, not only homosexual acts, Catechism 2358, even inclination is innately disordered. And then just in the modern, this is just the modern. We're not even getting into the tradition of the church. Three different documents put out by the Congregation for Divine Faith in our generation since 1975. Every 10 years we're getting this. So we're seeing this his comments and beliefs are a rupture from the tradition and the doctrine of the church on this particular matters, right? It's very clear. Now, going back to Father Martin, I think Father Martin is exercising a little wishful thinking in this because
he's not distinguishing the level of thinking, the level of authority. Just because the Pope says it doesn't mean this has any binding authority.
That's right.
Because this is a Pope can have his theological opinion. For example, I remember years ago, Pope John Paul, when part of his theology of the body was discussing creation, and he was talking about the various authors, proposed authors of the JEPD theory, the Wellhausen theory of the this is textual critical stuff, and he actually misquoted on which one wrote which creation account was written by which school of authorship. And the biblical scholars are coming unglued. Oh my gosh, Pope is wrong about this. And this is just common held biblical scholars. There's nothing magisterial about it. This is what Father Martin is talking about, is ignoring what's embedded into the tradition of the church, the constant universal teaching of the church. And so we need to not rethink, as he says, rethinking our positionality on this. We need to really rethink and restore our understanding of ecclesiology and how doctrine is handed down. Even if the Pope would do this in a magisterial way as part of the ordinary magisterium, that if a Pope teaches something contrary to the teachings of the church, right, what's held in the magisterium, what's called the religious submission of will and intellect, religiosum voluntatis et intellectus obsequium. This is what's bound. We are bound to the ordinary magisterium. We're bound to bow our intellect and will to understand more deeply what the Holy Father may be saying. This is different from, and if that is contrary to the lived tradition of the church, then that creates an issue for us and receiving this tradition. And number two, this is definitely not something that's being done ex cathedra and definitively. And we believe that papal infallibility, this will protect the lay faithful from any false teaching. The thing that Father James Martin also, I think, errs in, and that is this. Let's talk pastoral theology for a minute. Let's lay aside the doctrinal formula.
Okay.
Pastorally, there are so many families out there that have children that are struggling with same-sex attraction, and there's groups like Courage and other authentically Catholic associations that are trying to help their children who have unwanted same-sex attraction. And these types of off-the-cuff statements might be a good political comment about how we can recognize legality. And sure, everybody says, sure, if this person needs some legal recognition or health care, that debate has already been settled years ago in even our own generation. But those parents who are living and have children in same-sex unions or having same-sex attraction, and they want to try to pass on authentic Catholic values to those children, this undermines parental authority in a way that is very, very difficult for those parents that are trying, and the children are coming to them and they want out, or even if they don't want out, but the parents have true, authentic pastoral concern for the spiritual well-being of the children. I think Father James Martin completely ignores that whatsoever, and he doesn't make a very cohesive argument on why we have to rethink our positionality on this, that these bishops have to rethink it. He gives no argument on it. It's purely, well, the Pope said it. Everything the Pope says is absolutely magisterial, and that's simply not true. That's a misunderstanding of what the word magisterial means.
Well said, Dan.
Dan, I'm gonna quote you. You made reference to, so I found the article. It's May 22nd, 2018. It says this: Pope Francis tells Italian bishops, "It is not a sin to criticize me." He said this at the opening of the General Assembly of the Italian bishops, and he shared his concerns about less people going into seminaries and churches closing and dioceses shrinking. He says, as a result of all this, it's not a sin to criticize the Pope as a result of this. So once again, he's made it very clear that he's not, that again, you do it with respect. We respect the office.
That's right.
But again, we're just following paragraph 907 of the Catechism in Canon 212. Pope Benedict, his predecessor, has also said the same thing, that a pope could be criticized as well. He said this when he wrote his book. It was called Jesus of Nazareth.
Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, he said this. He says this book is in no way an exercise of the magisterium of my teaching authority. It's solely my expression and my personal research. Everyone is free then to criticize me, close quote. So this is what we're doing right here. It's respectful, fraternal correction, or asking our Father a question. Dad, I don't understand what you just said. Can you give us clarification? Because it doesn't seem to comport with the previous dad and the previous dad. This is Jesse Romero, Catholic Lay Evangelist, and I want to thank you for watching this video on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Make sure you leave a like and a comment on the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Find out how to receive exclusive content in the description below, and always remember to take the information you gathered from this video and evangelize everyone you know. Thank you, and full sheen ahead.